Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 3-2-1 Screw Throwdown. My co-host here, Captain Bill, of course, Big Shot Joe. This is a very special edition of 3-2-1 Screw Throwdown. It is the Royal Rumble review.
That's right.
Which I love the Royal Rumble.
The big Royal Rumble.
I love it more than WrestleMania,
weekend.
to be honest with you.
I don't know about that.
I do. I enjoy the Royal Rumble event. It's my favorite event.
WrestleMania is still WrestleMania. All the biggest matches always happen at WrestleMania.
Well, yes, they do, but the
Royal Rumble is number 2 for me.
I like the Royal Rumble, man. I just love the concept of the match, and you know.
For me, it's WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and then Survivor Series. Those are my 3 favorites. I like the Survivor Series, just that whole. Especially this last year when it was
NXT
joining there. So SmackDown Raw and NXT.
You had the first time ever a 15-man elimination match, which was good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I always dug the Survivor Series. It's like you get your team, I'll get my team, and
let's
see who wins. Yeah, so those are my 3 favorites.
Right.
What if you get attacked by a pointed stick?
This is true. There's not a lot you can do against a pointed stick, unless of course you have a basket of raspberries. Then
or you simply pull the lever.
Yes, you might have
and
a
let
chance.
loose the man-eating tiger.
Alrighty then. So the Royal Rumble 2020. Where do we start?
Well, the pre-show, of course, there was the 2 matches.
Yeah, you had Sheamus and Shorty G,
Yeah.
which Shorty G put up a fight, but it did go the way I figured it. You figured it the same way.
Yeah, well,
Sheamus was going to have to win. It was his return match.
yeah.
And they've been kind of hyping it. I thought that was going to be on the main show. They did it on the pre-show, though.
And then it was Alberto Carrillo against Andrade.
For the U.S. title.
For the U.S. title.
Which Andrade retained.
Right.
No.
But he was injured
Yeah.
at the hands of Carrillo outside the match. But,
No, that was Monday. That was Raw. They did that on Raw.
was that Raw?
Yeah.
Wow, my bad. I thought that happened at the, no, he was injured.
That was on Monday Night Raw. What's
Look
in
at
that cup, Bill?
I'm telling you, man.
What the hell do you got in that cup?
And
I told you about that.
dipping into some of Grandpa's cough medicine.
We are going to have another discussion after this show. Alright.
Yep.
Not that it will do anything, but
There'll be a letter from HR in my
I'm telling you, man,
in my file.
in your permanent record.
Yeah.
So, the Royal Rumble 2020, man, we saw 2 fantastic world title matches.
Well, the first match, we gotta start with the first match. Started out, it was Drew and Corbin.
No, Roman Reigns and Corbin.
I mean, yeah, I always said Drew.
And there was
Roman
no better
Reigns-
way for them to start it.
Roman Reigns and Corbin
The
started in
Falls Count Anywhere match.
So, of course, that was spilling out into the crowd in the backstage and, concessions or wherever the hell else. And
They made
was
it into
good.
they made it into a porter potty as well.
yeah.
Yes, Corbin went right into a porter potty at the hands of Roman Reigns. But I thought he was going to come out after he tipped it over. Thought he was going to have all that blue stuff on him. Didn't have
I
it.
did
I was a
too.
little upset about that. I was a little upset. A little upset.
I did
Maybe
think that
some
was gonna
dookie
be-
on his face. Nothing.
No, at least the blue stain.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
But,
Corbin was like, I'm King Corbin. I don't handle that stuff. So you're going to have it emptied.
Yeah.
before you tip it
Well,
over.
he was wet. Yeah, I mean,
Nah, that don't
it was
mean
just
nothing.
water. He just
That's
had the
right.
tank filled with water. But still, it was funny. It was a funny moment.
It was good. Kudos to Roman
And then,
on
of
that.
course,
And Corbin.
Ziggler and Rude, intervened.
Intervene, which
And then
everybody
the
knew.
Usos come out to help.
Usos. They did come
How
out
about
there.
that? I was kind of when I don't know which Jimmy or Jay, one of the two. I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, I have a hard time.
Jumped
telling
from
you
the top of the thing when out onto outside the ring, wherever they were over, in like the production areas and
Yeah.
stuff and scaffolding.
They literally did.
But
They did
when
not
it was
disappoint.
Ziggler and Rude. I found it, maybe it was just me. I thought it was kind of crazy. The match was between Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin.
And it became a 6-man tag.
And when the Usos come out to help Reigns against Ziggler and Rude, the cameras like just sort of started following. I mean, they were moving along with Usos and Ziggler and Rude, like it was a tag match, you know. And they were in. They weren't even Reigns and Corbin were nowhere in to be seen for. I mean,
a good 5 minutes.
Yeah, for several minutes. They just followed them around, and that's when one of them, whichever I don't remember which one it was, dove off the top down on, you know, just taking everyone out. And then
Suicide dive.
And then Corbin shows up. All of a sudden he comes running out, and you know, and then Reigns comes out. But you know, I mean, because it was in a baseball stadium.
You know what? And
So-
I thought it was kind of a cool setup.
So yeah,
The
so
way they had it.
so naturally Corbin and Reigns, you know, are gonna end up on top of the dugout.
Yeah, that was the first time. And did you see that spear?
Yeah, he
He
speared
ran
him on
he
top
speared-
of the dugout.
That is the
yeah.
first time I've seen in pro wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, that you have seen a match go on top of a dugout in a baseball field. I gotta
Yeah,
admit that was
the
pretty.
First, that was the first for me.
That was innovative on their
Yeah.
part. They did pretty well on that. I gotta give them credit.
But yeah, it was a great. I thought it was a hell of a match, man.
How many thumbs up out of 5 would you give that match? 5 being the best.
Well, I mean, with those matches, they rate them star. You give them star ratings, you know.
Thumbs up, star ratings. How many?
Uh,
I'd give it about a 3.5.
yeah, I give that one a 3.5, 3 and 3.75, 3.75
Yep,
stars.
Yep.
You know.
I'm about the same thing. 3.5, 4. It's in between there. So I mean, you know, it's not in between. It is between 3 and 4
Yeah.
stars. 3.5.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, I might even could go as high as a 4-star match in my opinion, man. Because
Yeah,
it was
good.
It was good action. It was good back and forth. You know, there was interference, but you know they did that good. You know, it wasn't too much. You know, because then the Usos come out. They did a good job basically of setting that up. Now I think you know they could set that up as a little now potential little feud rivalry. Now that the Usos are back, there we go. We can start a little series,
With Rude and Ziggler.
with Rude and Ziggler.
Which they already are starting. You know, they're getting into it now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's cool because you got 2 different storylines going on in one, which is
yeah.
good.
So
So,
it was cool. I liked it. You know, it was a good match.
well, let's get into
So,
some of
but,
the title
Roman Reigns,
matches.
of course, you know, like you said, wins it with the spear, and then the next match to follow Roman Reigns.
I don't know if it was necessarily in order, but I want to say it was. I think it was one of the women's championships. Yeah.
Bailey and Lacey Evans maybe was the second one.
Oh, that was good. That was really good. I thought it was a good match. Lacey Evans and Bailey did
Yeah.
not disappoint.
I gotta say, I like Lacey Evans better as a face.
I do too. I think
Yes,
she
as
pulls
a
it off
heel.
good. And I like the whole story. Her daughter was there in the arena, and Bailey's beating her up in front of the daughter, kind of selling for that storyline.
And I like the fact that
you
they're
can tell
kind
the
of-
storyline's not done.
I kind of like the fact that they're kind of using her her background,
The
talking about her,
Marines.
the Marine, and just kind of getting her over, getting people on her side. It's like, oh man, she's a former Marine, and and she's a face, and so
Yeah.
yeah, she wasn't just a Marine, she was an MP, in the Marines. So
She was. And she's a tough lady. But you got to look how they were building up this match. You had Bailey and Lacey, they were fighting backstage on SmackDown. Lacey was throwing her into, AV equipment trunks, and just they were beating the hell out of each other all over the arena. And then it ends up in the ring. This was the SmackDown before Rumble. But anyways, they had a build up.
yeah.
And then naturally, Bailey ends up taking the win. 1, 2, 3. Wins it.
Yeah,
Um,
I gotta say, man, I honestly, I thought here's what I thought was going to happen during that match. I thought that Sasha Banks was going to come out.
I did too. To be honest with you, I was a
thought
little
Sasha Banks
disappointed.
was going to come out, either help Bayley win, or just come out to join in Bayley's celebration after winning,
and then turn
on Bayley, and that's going to set up Bayley and Sasha at WrestleMania for the SmackDown women's title.
Absolutely.
So that's what I thought was going to happen, but Bayley got the win, and no Sasha Banks.
Not yet.
So then she went back to back.
Oh, I messed up. The second match of the night was the Women's Rumble.
Was the Women's Rumble?
It was, which was amazing.
Yes,
I loved
it.
That was probably the best of the three that they've had. And honestly, the winner of that match, one I thought deserved it, Charlotte Flair. Charlotte deserved it.
I honestly thought Shayna Baszler was going to win, though.
I mean, that would have been, that was one of the obvious choices, though.
Yeah,
but the
apparently,
fact was,
from what I've heard, Baszler was supposed to win, but there was a last-minute change of plans.
Well, Vince, he likes to do them last-minute changes.
And they gave Charlotte the win.
But I was happy with the outcome, because now the question is, who's she going to challenge?
Yeah. What in any
Is she going to go to NXT? Is she going to go to SmackDown?
Hold on. We're just kind of we mentioned that the Women's Royal Rumble happened, and we tell them who won, and now we're moving on from that. I think there were some things of note worthy talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
In that Women's Rumble.
Mighty Molly showed up.
Mighty Molly showed up. Exactly. Kelly showed up.
She did, and Charlotte and her got into it.
Beth Phoenix showed up. And then, Beth Phoenix was one of the last three women.
She was, and she had
how about that
gash
exactly
on her head and did not quit.
No.
Natalya returned.
Natalya was out there. You know what? The scene as the match went on, and she's sweating and her head's bleeding, and that blonde hair. You know what that reminded me of?
What's that?
Flair. Flair when he would get busted open with that blonde hair and the sweat mixing, and his whole head's red and it's all in his hair, and that's what it was reminding me of, because it was there at the end, man. Just the whole back of her head was just bloodied.
Right.
Bloodied all the hell up.
Oh, it was bad.
Phenomenal performance by Bianca Belair, I thought, in the Rumble. She definitely
who the Tangled?
Huh?
African American version of Tangled?
Yeah, from NXT. Oh man, she
looked like Sindel from Mortal Kombat with that hair.
But I'm telling you what, man, she was she was getting it done, man. She was throwing people out left and right, though.
She was, man. She was dominating that Women's Rumble. She stayed in there for quite some time. I'm not crazy about her. I'm not saying she's not talented, but she definitely showcased in that.
Yeah.
I
dig the long hair. I think that's just kind of
unique.
It's kind of just it's kind of just
it's something new,
cool, different. But that it just
something new.
I've seen her use it as a weapon. Choking out people, and
but I've also been.
She's I don't know. She's either married to, she's either dating or married to one of the Street Profits.
It's a lot of hair, bro.
Yeah.
So,
but she did great, and
I feel like there was another return. We had Natalya. We had Mighty Molly, Beth Phoenix.
Kelly.
That might have been it.
Oh no, Naomi.
Oh yeah, Naomi returned.
Naomi, what a crazy outfit and hairdo she had going on, man. Yeah. She had Kofi's moment. You know how the Rumble seems like for the last few years? Kofi, would get tossed out and he would land, he jump onto
Yeah.
the
But I was
on the railing,
Yep,
or
yep.
you run around and do something, find some way to get back into the ring somehow.
yeah, but he didn't do it this
No,
year.
but Naomi did it in
I
the women,
noticed
so it's
that.
like Naomi took on that role,
That's pretty
of
cool.
doing that instead of Kofi.
That's pretty cool. Kofi has always been unique like that, though. So,
Yeah.
and she did good.
Yeah. Oh, dude, another one of my just another crazy moment that just I love, man. Another favorite moment, so
What's
to
that?
speak, of the women's rumble is when Mandy Rose rolled out of the ring and lands on top of Otis.
Yes. And then Otis, as before he puts her in the ring.
No. The first time she rolls out, she lands on top of him.
Oh,
And that's when she gets up and she's standing on him and she jumps back up into the ring and gets back in.
right.
And then later on, because Otis hung out, he stayed ringside, so he's hanging around. And at this point, Sonya Deville had come out and joined into the match, but Mandy gets tossed out again, and Otis catches her, and he's holding, catching her and hold her. And before he could, that's when that happened. Before he could put her back in, Sonya Deville gets tossed out, lands on top of him and her,
And
together, and then they
eliminates.
all go down. But yeah, when she rolled out and landed on top of him, man, and
That was funny.
they come around, pan around, and you see him laying there, and she's laying on top of him. That had me laughing.
I chuckled.
Yeah, that was
That
a
was
funny
good.
moment. Then of course,
I'm curious to see.
of
where
course,
they're gonna go
Lana
with
comes
that
out, and
storyline.
then Liv comes out.
Oh
And
yeah.
goes straight after Lana, eliminating Lana, who then cheats after being eliminated and gets Liv eliminated. So there we go with that. They're
rolling with that.
they're rolling
storyline.
with that one now. That's going to be the
big
Liv
thing.
Morgan Lana. That'll probably end up they'll have a match at the next pay-per-view, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. No, and honestly, I think the Liv Morgan and Lana thing is cool. It's getting interesting, but I'm kind of wondering, like, for instance, Bobby Lashley. You notice Bobby Lashley got in that match after. Oh, never mind. We'll talk about that later on about the Royal Rumble. Scratch that from the thing. I caught myself.
I like the fact
We're
that
good.
they're at least starting to have matches. It's not just Lana and Bobby coming out, and there's a whole bunch of just
Yeah, it was a
her
talking for like
just
10 months.
yeah, geez, she's just carrying on.
I'm
and
exaggerating,
on and
but
on.
it was a long time.
And then Rusev will come out at the end and he'll attack him real quick for a couple months. Now they're actually starting to get some action going, matches. So I mean,
Right, but Rusev has lost to Bobby Lashley a lot. So at some point they need to do a turning point
Yeah.
in the storyline.
yeah, I agree.
Either make it to where if Lashley wins, Rusev goes to SmackDown, or if Rusev wins, then one last match. That's it. It's done after that.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do.
But anyways, that's another story. We're
Yes,
talking
for
about the
another
women's
time.
Rumble. They're just
Right.
talking about
Well,
Lana and Liv.
Why don't we go ahead and talk about?
So yeah, but those were just some of the moments that I wanted to to kind of talk about.
And the Women's
The
Rumble.
Rumble. But ultimately, yes, Charlotte Flair, the Queen, wins it.
And I felt
And-
she deserved it.
Here's the interesting thing: is she has not, even on Raw the following night. As we know, she hasn't said what belt she's going after. She's challenging for.
You're right.
And there's a lot of talk and speculation and rumors. And apparently even Charlotte has apparently made comments in regards to having an interest in the women's NXT championship.
Very unique.
And Rhea Ripley, which,
They need ratings for NXT, so
I
hey,
mean,
that'd be a good thing to do.
Charlotte came from NXT, you
Yeah.
know.
That's where she started out.
Maybe, yeah. Why not do like a Finn Balor kind of thing? Finn Balor went back to NXT. Charlotte decides that's the new titles you want, because they're really pushing the NXT Women's Championship.
They
They
are.
really are. They're really promoting it and pushing it. You know, trying to make it significant. You know.
But here's the question. You know how like superstars they'll say, "Oh, a 10-time world champion, 10-time women's champion." She wins the NXT Women's Champion. I would think that would count as another women's world championship.
Yeah,
Mark,
I guess. Yeah, you know, it's tough to say. I don't
you
know.
Is it going to be considered a world
But
championship?
you know what? Even if it didn't, you know, even if they wouldn't consider that, you know, one of the, it's still gonna be, you know, that'll become part of her resume. Did she win the women's title when she was in NXT?
She did.
Okay, so
Yep.
you know, hey, she could be a multiple-time women's NXT champion, and maybe that's a separate category. Who knows? But even if it wasn't, she's already got the record for the most women's, you know, world championships. So what if this particular one wouldn't count toward, you know, wouldn't technically, you know, they wouldn't consider it to be
And
number
she's
11.
I think she's a 10-time.
She is a 10-time.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. She has a record. She's won more
I didn't know.
women's title than anyone else.
I didn't
She
realize
holds the
if that's
record.
what it was. I
Which
thought I heard that.
was kind of funny because her dad tied with Cena for, you know, 16, you know, the most for the men's.
Do you think they would
And now
let
Charlotte is
Charlotte be the one to beat his record?
It wouldn't surprise me. She's still young enough in her career, dude. I can see Charlotte being around for
Quite some time.
I see her being around another 10 years.
In some capacity, even if she retires, she won't leave that company. She's been there for quite some time.
Oh, I mean, really, what is Charlotte Flair? What is, you know? I mean, is she maybe 30, early 30?
I think I'm.
I think
I'm
Charlotte's
older
in
than
her.
her.
I
She's
think
in her
Charlotte's
late
in her
20s.
late 20s.
She is.
So I mean, feasibly, you could see her wrestling, competing for another 10 years.
Oh yeah, easily.
I mean,
so, but anyway,
it's just wrestling has been a part of her entire life.
it has been.
You know, between her dad and then, you know, she's marrying a wrestler. You know,
Andrade.
I mean, Andrade. You know, so yeah, I can see her, barring some sort of injury, you know, career-ending injury. I can see her doing this another 10 years.
Right. So why don't we go ahead and get into the women's Raw Championship, Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch, the man, versus Asuka. Fantastic match. Becky.
I love me some Asuka.
Yep. Asuka's awesome. I love how she's using the mist like the Great Muta and
Yeah.
Tajiri. She, you know, the match ended in a submission. Was
Yeah.
it a submission?
It
yeah.
was a submission.
The disarmer. And Becky Lynch retained. She finally got that victory on a pay-per-view against Asuka. So that's like something now that is done. I don't think she's completely done with. Yeah, she's going to be moving on to. I honestly think it's going to be Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I think they're going to do that again. But maybe they throw Asuka in there and have
Me
a triple
personally,
threat.
I think. I don't. You know, it depends. Here's the thing. Ronda Rousey, again, going back to the Women's Rumble, as much as we talked about the surprise entrance, comebacks, whatever, there were a few notable no-shows that was rumored and talked a lot about.
Yep.
AJ Lee,
Ronda Rousey,
and Paige.
Yeah.
Those were the
I
three
for
names
sure
that I
thought-
heard a lot about. And of course, I also heard Trish and Lita too. But
Well, yeah, those
But
are
mostly Paige, Rousey, and a lot of AJ Lee, because that, of course, that went hand in hand with all the CM Punk talk.
Oh yeah, well.
So, but Ronda Rousey has commented in interviews recently, you know, and made comments and talked about an interest in talking about how she would love to have a match with Rhea Ripley in NXT.
Rhea Ripley's okay with it.
You know, Rhea Ripley has gone regular saying, hey, Ronda, me versus Ronda or me versus Flair. I don't care. Either one, I welcome either one of them.
Either way,
But
I'm
think about
down.
it, man. Rhea Ripley had the two names, that seemed to be kind of circling around like sharks, or Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. And let's not forget that at the next NXT pay-per-view, TakeOver Portland,
Right.
she's got to face Bianca Belair.
Should be good.
And Bianca Belair, as she just showed in this Royal Rumble, is no one to be taken lightly.
Nope.
So, it could be interesting. If Charlotte Flair decides to go after the NXT title,
Right.
then I would see Rousey coming back and going after Becky Lynch to set up that WrestleMania Becky Lynch Ronda Rousey one-on-one match.
Yeah.
Not a triple threat, the one-on-one.
The one-on-one, and that
Now,
would be a
if
top match.
Charlotte Flair decides to go after Becky for the title, then I could see Ronda Rousey. I could feasibly see her coming back
to take
and
on.
going after Ripley
Well, we
and the
can't.
NXT
We
title.
can't leave Bailey out of the equation either.
Sasha Banks is going to and Bailey are going to face each other at WrestleMania. I 100% believe that is going to happen.
It could.
It needs to happen.
So
Because Sasha was a face, she left, she come back heel, and then she's been gone for a while again. I have a feeling she's going to come back and turn on Bailey because she's going to decide, okay,
I want the
You've-
title.
you've had this long enough, I want it now. And she's going to turn on her. I just, my opinion, that's what I think is going to happen.
I mean, it's a possibility. I mean,
Write
would
it
be
down. You heard it
interesting.
here first.
Write it down. Make a note. Captain Bill said that.
Yep.
Now, I thought the match was great. Asuka and Becky Lynch, it was explosive. They just kept pulling out all the stops, reversal upon reversals. Kairi Sane,
Kyrie Sane.
and got involved. But that didn't stop Becky, and the man retained.
Asuka will win the women's world title. It's just a matter of time. It's coming. I could see her winning it within
Don't forget
a
this.
year. She's going to win the world title, the women's title, one of them.
Asuka has already.
I might see her winning it again.
Oh, you're saying again? I got you. I was
She's
going to
gonna
say
win the women's world
she's
title.
been world champion, right?
No, I'm saying
Okay.
she's going to win it again.
Right.
Within a year.
I'm there, bro. I got you.
Not this WrestleMania, but by next WrestleMania, she's either going to be at that WrestleMania. She's going to be in a world title championship picture, match,
Write it down.
or
Captain Bill said it.
either as a challenger, or she'll go into WrestleMania next year as the women's champion to defend. But I see that.
I could see that happening. Well, why don't we get into the Universal Championship? Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend in a strap match. Strap match, you could tell right now that those you can't fake getting hit with a leather strap.
And I was watching.
You can't.
I was
Go ahead.
watching Ryback. He's got his YouTube channel. He does his podcast show, and he's got his Feed Me More. Where he goes around just eating, trying stuff, and doing challenges and whatnot. But I was watching him do. He was filming him. It was just a little. He was filming. He was watching the Royal Rumble, and it was during the Daniel Bryan Fiend match, and he was sitting there. He was talking about he was about to go on a 48-hour fast. So this was like his last big meal, right before he went on this fast, where he was eating like 2 Subway foot-long, full vegetarian, meatless, the Beyond Meat, whatever, the fake meat, subs.
Right.
He ate 2 footlongs of those and a dozen assorted donuts. That was his.
He's got the tank for it, so hey.
Oh well, yeah, the dude's 6'2", 3 bills, and there's, probably 2% body fat on the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He'll burn that up quick. But anyways,
back to
he
Daniel
was
Bryan
talking
and The
about while he
Fiend.
was watching that match. He was saying, he said those strap matches are no joke. He says you can't fake the leather strap. You know, he says when you're getting whipped and beat with that leather strap, he says it hurts.
And the welts that Daniel Bryan had.
Yeah, and he said the
shows
worst
proof.
part is later on, you know, when they're when they're hitting the showers and that hot water and soap and stuff hits those welts and those things. He said
gonna
that
hurt.
it's gonna light you up, you know. Or later tonight when you're, you know, if you're in a vehicle, if you're driving to the next gig, next town, or you're on a plane or whatever, just sitting in something, you know, leaning back into a seat. You know, he says it ain't fun. So, and Daniel was welted up.
He was, man.
Bray was just.
Bray was relentless, dude.
Laying the strap to him.
Laying the strap down.
Oh yeah,
On
like
his candy
like Daniel stole from him.
Yeah, like he owed him money, son.
Yeah.
So, but
Like
no,
Stewie on Brian.
that's right.
You got
But
my money, man?
but
Huh?
here's something
Where's my
interesting.
money, man?
Here's something
Where's
interesting.
my money?
I want my money,
I
man.
want my money,
I
man.
want my money, man. Shoots him in the kneecap.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Stewie wasn't playing. He wanted
Little
his
fact
money.
about this. I was reading up. So do you know why they didn't turn the red lights on during that Fiend match?
No, man.
Did you notice that though? That they didn't use
Yeah.
the red light? It was so you could see the welts of the strap match.
Makes sense.
That does make sense because that adds to the effect, the specialty of the match.
Yeah.
You know, you're in the red, it's like, okay, he's getting smacked with a strap, but we can't see the damage. So it took away from that. Daniel Bryan was getting pummeled, but then he came back. Daniel was throwing out them running knees, and he did the LaBelle lock, and
Oh yeah.
if only Rambling Rabbit would have survived,
Yeah.
and he could have told Daniel Bryan the
He
secret.
gave it a match, but
You know, but
but you know, in the end, the Fiend was victorious.
yep,
Let me ask you.
rest in peace, Rambling Rabbit.
Do you think this effectively? Do you feel that this concluded the Daniel Bryan Fiend feud, and they will move on
I
to
do.
a new?
I do. I personally do because they've been through their few matches. Daniel Bryan, they may have plans for something else for him come WrestleMania. Don't forget, Bill, we still got Super Showdown. That's going to be in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going to be doing stuff to build that up, which then is going to be the final stage before Mania to put everything in motion. So, I mean, there could be title changes.
Yeah.
You know, they could have a Joe Blow right out of nowhere that
Fiends. My opinion. Ooh, where'd that come from?
I don't know.
My opinion,
Your
the
mouth?
Fiend is going into WrestleMania as the
Oh yeah,
World
no,
Champion.
I know that. I'm just saying any champion. You know, like I'm just saying there's been times where they'll use that pay-per-view between Rumble and Mania to do like title changes. I'm not saying they're going to do that to the Fiend,
Right.
but I'm saying you may see that. Maybe one of the women's
True.
champions.
You very well could.
You know.
Um,
So, but anyway, but yeah, man, that match, Daniel Bryan really, he is one tough dude. If anybody says Daniel Bryan's not tough, they need to go
you
take
know
a
what?
walk.
A quick little side note here about the Fiend Bray Wyatt. I just want this is something I saw online and read about. There was this kid. He suffers from autism, and I guess he gets bullied a lot. And he had on his Bray Wyatt, Fiend Bray Wyatt. Well, I don't know if it was whichever it was, but it was Bray Wyatt, shirt. And he got jumped and beat up. He got beat up pretty good.
In
and,
school?
I don't know if he was at school or not. I don't know if it happened at school or not. But I mean, he was. I mean, they showed him at the hospital, but he got beat pretty good. They ripped his Bray shirt all up, cut it up. Was cutting it off, and stuff. And I guess basically word got back to Bray Wyatt about this. And Bray Wyatt tweeted to this kid's mom because I guess she tweeted about it happening with a picture of him,
Right.
at the hospital. And Bray tweeted back to the mom and said He said, DM me his sizes. I've got your 6. So you know Bray was gonna hook this kid up with some Fiend swag.
And
You
never
know,
if the Fiend may pay those bullies a visit.
They better hope not.
Look, Mick Foley was awesome at the Mandible Claw, but the way he does it frightens me. The
Yeah.
Fiend. You know,
But
there ain't no Mr. Sacco on the Fiend's
it's
hand.
just cool that you know
That was passed on.
that
to
he
him.
that he does this. No. The whole
Oh,
thing
for
with
the kid, absolutely,
You know,
man.
just
Bray is, believe it or not,
and a little side note about not the Fiend, but Bray Wyatt. the
Bray
type of
Wyatt
guy
has
he
even
is.
done Make-A-Wish
Yeah.
calls. He's done that. I mean, dude, it's, dude, you don't get in this business just to say I'm making money. You gotta have some kind of passion.
Everybody I've ever seen or heard about, talking about meeting Bray Wyatt have all said.
Oh, dude, I
nothing
bet.
that
Yeah, but you know what?
he's a great guy.
Same thing
he's
about-
a good guy, nice guy.
Look at Kane.
Yeah,
The
same
freaking
thing.
mayor of Knox County, one of the nicest guys in the world.
The big red machine.
Undertaker.
Hell's favorite demon.
Yeah, Undertaker. Nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah. So
You
that's
know?
kind of cool.
So, but that was a side note. Well,
Yeah. So
Why don't-
just a cool little thing I wanted to talk about.
That was
We were
pretty
talking about
much-
Fiend.
that was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much the normal matches.
Yeah, because the only thing left after that
Is
was the big one.
30 man.
The
Royal
men's
Rumble.
30-man Royal Rumble.
So we all
Started
know
off right
WWE champion Brock Lesnar entered himself in there as,
as
number one. And he wanted to prove a point. Now, there's going to be a little controversy to what I'm about to say, and I'll let Bill explain it. But Brock Lesnar started at number one. Now, knowing Brock Lesnar started at number one, I figure, okay, Brock's going to probably last till the end. They're going to build it up. They built it up so much. He's probably going to be part of like the final 4 or the final 3 or hell, maybe even the final 2.
Right.
But that did not happen.
No.
However, he threw out single-handedly. He tied the record with Braun Strowman. 13 guys, one at a time, just throwing them out.
Yeah, he gets out there, and of course the first person who comes out at number 2.
Rey Mysterio. No,
Rey Mysterio
no.
didn't come out
He
at
came
number
out
2.
later on. Who came out first after him?
Number 2 was Elias,
Elias, that's right.
and he come out,
Started singing a song.
his song,
And
walking
Brock
out.
didn't like that.
Brock jumped out, chased after him, and got in the ring.
Threw him in the ring.
Did you notice when Brock grabbed the guitar and hit him with the guitar? He
hit
had
him
it
with the
backwards.
string.
He hit it with he put the string side to his back, not.
That was probably purposely.
Yeah, probably.
Brock was
Even
not-
the announcer said, "Oh, you hit him with the wrong. He hit him with the wrong side."
I will say, before we continue about this, I will say that was one of Brock Lesnar's best performances.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, let me tell you something. Look, I'm going to say this. I know Brock gets a lot of heat, and Brock isn't necessarily the biggest with the fans, but Brock is entertaining.
Oh yeah, dude.
And I know people say Brock doesn't have a passion or anything. Deep down inside, he's got a passion. You don't just do this without passion.
Yeah,
There's
so of
no
course,
way.
he tosses Elias out, quick, and then, the next one, the number 3 comes out, and, now all of a sudden,
Who was number 3?
I'm drawing a blank on, the
Number 3.
The order of them now coming out. I know he rolled through.
Was it John Morrison?
No, it wasn't Morrison. Morrison was one of, in that first group of guys that was coming out, he was just tossing left and right. It was Morrison. It was Cesaro. It was
Rey Mysterio.
Well, no,
Yeah.
he didn't. No, he didn't toss. I'm talking about just tossing them out one at a time. The first big surprise,
Oh, okay.
MVP.
Yeah.
When he's like dancing to
MVP.
MVP's music,
I
you
think
know.
MVP was number 2. He
Three.
was
No, number 2 was Elias. MVP might have been 3.
3. I
3,
mean.
4. But yeah, Brock was dancing to his music. He's coming out. But point is he was grabbing guys and just tossing them right out.
Yeah, single-handedly.
And then he's just standing around for a minute, just waiting, walking around, holding the title up in the air. You know.
Yeah, Paul Heyman kept handing
Paul
him the title.
Heyman's walking over, showing the title to all the announcers. He seemed to hold it, let it linger in Booker T's face for a little bit. I kind of got that feeling, impression. I just me personally. Go back and watch it. So he's like when he's holding it, he's just like holding it right in front of Booker T's face. I was like, oh, what was up with that? But you know, he's just, you know, Morrison, you know, Miz. I mean, these guys are all coming down
Getting
and
thrown out by
just
Brock.
you know, boom, out.
Then of
You
course,
know, Robert Roode, you know, Ziggler,
but then of
out,
course,
out. Then the one who come out was Kofi. Kofi was the first one to last the full 3 minutes for the next contestant to come out.
well, it's
Well,
90 seconds.
Or 90, whatever,
yeah,
90
seconds. Yeah.
So, as Kofi was getting beat off for that 90 seconds, and then Rey Mysterio come out, and he jumps in the ring. And then now that time, you know, goes by, and the next one come, of course, was Big E. So now it's Big E, Kofi, and Rey, the three of them.
Teaming up
And they're
on
going
his
to kind
ass.
of team up on Brock. And, you know, of course, you start thinking, okay, you know, here's where it's going to start to get.
I want my money, man.
This is where you're going to start to get your typical, you know, Rumble match, you know, with a bunch of guys in the ring, just, you know, carnage and everything.
It was like, I want my money, man.
You know, right.
Give me my money, man.
And so, I mean, they started doing the different stuff. You know, they were like getting over on Brock.
They
And
were,
then
man.
they
And
get him over into
did
the
they
corner.
do the big ending to him? I
Yeah,
think
Biggie,
so.
Biggie did his
I
move.
thought that was so
There was
cool.
They did a 619. You know, Ray did the 619.
Yep, they all.
You know, all that
Kofi.
stuff.
I know what it started with. Trouble in Paradise.
By Kofi, and
Then the
Big E's,
619.
Then the 619, yeah. And then
And then Big E.
Big E got down on his hands and knees, you know, and the rat when Brock was in the corner, you know, and Rey Mysterio runs and launches himself off of Big E's back into Brock, who catches him and just belly to belly right out of the ring. And then
That was
Brock
pretty
takes
cool.
off running and fucking he jumps off of Big E's back, launching himself into Kofi in the corner.
That's right, with that clothesline
Throws
almost.
Kofi out, and then goes back and tosses out Big E. They had him 3-1, and just like that, the ring is empty with Brock's by himself.
But then.
That's when enters Bask in His Glory,
Keith
Keith
Lee.
Lee. That's what I was waiting for, Keith
The
Lee.
new North American
then-
champion.
Yeah, I love
NXT.
Brock's face. You know, and
He's like, whoa, big boy.
Whoa. Yeah, you could read his lips when he's getting in the ring and he looks over at Paul Heyman, and you could read his lips. And pardon my French, but he says to him, "Who's this big motherfucker?" You know, you could read his lips when he said that to Paul Heyman.
He did.
And then they had that little face off right there. And then they start going. And Keith Lee, you know, is holding his own with him. They're going back and forth.
Right.
And then 90 seconds goes by. Here comes Brock. Now, Braun. Personally, me at this point, I thought, okay,
They're going to be
now
the
here we go. Now
They're going to
you
be the
got
reason for him to
Keith
get
Lee,
thrown out.
Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman, all three battling it out in the ring. That is three beasts, three just behemoths, powerhouse,
Behemoth.
colossal mountain of man.
That's a huge bitch.
You know, I thought it was gonna be on. You know, and
Yeah, dude, it was for a few minutes.
you know, Braun does. You know, he circles, he goes.
You know,
out,
he does that.
You know,
and he
runs around
and
and shoulder blocks Keith Lee down, gets in the ring.
I would have laughed if he would have hit Paul Heyman.
You know, he's slamming into Brock. He's going back and forth. And then,
Those two decide to clash.
like fools, they decide to start fighting each other,
And then Brock,
leaving Brock,
with the advantage.
yeah, to just kind of
lift him over and throw him
gather
out
his strength back
by
and
both
run
their
over
legs,
there.
use their weight, and they flew out. Now Brock is by himself.
Once again.
He's
now eliminated 13 people.
But then Ricochet comes out.
Ricochet.
And Ricochet, it looked like he was going to get eliminated. Brock was kind
But
of
he holds on for the 90 seconds.
until
The Scottish psychopath
Drew
McIntyre
McIntyre shows up.
shows. I like how he steps up onto the ring apron, and you can read his lips where he said, "I've been waiting a long time for this." You know, he gets in. There's a little bit of an exchange. I can't really tell what they were saying to each other. But Brock starts taking his gloves off.
Takes his gloves
like,
off.
Oh yeah, all right.
You
All
want
right,
to go,
we're
big
gonna
boy?
do this. We're gonna go, big boy.
Yep.
You know, Drew. You know, him and Drew were standing there face, and you know, Drew had the. Brock's a little bigger than Drew, not a lot bigger, but a little bigger than.
I tell you what though,
Drew was taller than Brock.
Drew's taller, but I think
but Brock's a little stockier. Bigger build.
Drew's more defined though.
Right.
Drew,
right.
he's that guy.
Oh yeah, the dude's.
Because you got to think Brock, but Brock
But still.
Lesnar back in 03.
Oh yeah.
02
But still,
was bigger than
there's
that.
this face on it, and you just know, oh yeah, they're about to throw some hands.
Oh yeah, it's going
about
down.
to go down when all of a sudden Ricochet
Returns
with
the low blow.
Exactly, returns the favor from the previous Monday Night Raw
Which-
with the low blow
Which set him up
for a
perfectly.
brutal
Claymore kick.
kick.
Brock Lesnar
right over the top.
finally gets eliminated.
But I mean, that Claymore kick was on money.
Right.
Was on point.
Now, see, if Bobby Lashley would have been a face and they were pushing Bobby like they should have when he first came back, I would have loved to have finally seen Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar throw hands, but we
Yeah.
didn't get to see it.
Hopefully it still happens, but you know we'll see.
Hopefully, if they're smart, they'll do it.
And I gotta get Brock really sold that Claymore kick too, man.
He did, but
he was laying on his back for a while, and I like how
he hung
Drew
around.
just stared at him. He goes over, he eliminates Ricochet real quick, and now he's got a little time to wait for the next guy to come down, and he just stares.
Yeah,
at
and there's
Brock.
an exchange, and Brock is just standing there. With
Someone
all
else
of them.
comes out, he tosses them out quick,
and goes back to
over to
looking
stare
at
at Brock again. Yeah, man, he was sending a message right then.
I'm taking that
Yeah, I'm
belt.
coming for that.
And honestly, spoiler alert, he's gonna win. There's no way. I think so. It is
But
Drew's
yeah,
time.
even when Brock got up, he was acting kind of all wobbly leg, you know, holding himself up. And then he doesn't even go to the back. He just goes right out through the arena. Yeah, but he's yelling something back at Drew.
Dude, look, I'm one of those guys. I fucking love Brock Lesnar, man.
But then
He's great at what he does.
yeah. And then after that, the Rumble took on the Rumble that that everyone's used to. Now,
Then names started coming in.
right,
It
the
started
bigger
building
names,
up again.
and then the ring starts to now fill with guys. Now you got AJ Styles coming out.
You got
You know,
Randy Orton.
Drew McIntyre's still in the ring. You know, you had Anderson and Gallows come out. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Oh, Shinsuke was another one that Brock just mowed
That
through.
is true. He mowed right through the Intercontinental Champion.
Yep.
So, but you also had...
But yeah, the OC, and then
Yep.
of course there was the pop of the night came when that smoke went off.
At number 27, I think.
Uh,
It was in the 20s.
It was in the 20s, yeah.
Late, higher 20s.
And Edge.
And then you hear, on this day, boom, and then he comes out, and he had a big pyro, dude.
Dude,
The fireworks
Listen,
in that stadium.
I just knew Edge was coming back to this Rumble.
Well, dude, they kept saying it. They
kept
saying
talking about
it.
it.
It was
Nothing was
clear.
ever confirmed, but I knew he was coming back. Even though I just knew that he was coming, I was still so jacked up, man.
For it. Me
when
too.
To see him come, you gotta think about it, man. He has not been in a match
years.
since
9 years.
2011. 9 years.
It's a
Almost
long
a
time.
decade.
It's a long time. But you know what, dude? And like a lot of people have asked me, they
But
said,
man, did that crowd go
"Oh yeah,
absolutely
he had the biggest pop of the night.
ape shit.
He had the biggest pop of the night." Now the thing was though, you got to think of medical technology today. It's not as what it was 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, like with Austin and all them.
Yeah.
So maybe Edge, through conditioning and everything, he feels good.
Well, they say he signed a 3-year deal.
That's what I was reading
A
too.
3-year contract, so.
And I do think it's going to be a part-time contract, but I think it's going to be like stints. Like, it's not going to be one match then leave for 3 months.
Right.
Like Brock. I think it's going to be more.
Yeah,
here's
he'll have a
for
little
few
program,
months,
he'll run and then.
go away, come back when needed, stuff like that, which I'm good with. I'm really good with, because Edge, I don't want to see him get hurt.
Right.
And Edge, dude, he did not get rusty at all because I'll tell you what.
No,
the
man,
second he gets
looked,
in the ring.
he looked to be in the best shape I've ever seen him.
Yep.
I mean,
Well, no, I mean for his age,
dude,
yes.
no, I've never seen Edge with a 6-pack like he had at that Rumble. I've never seen him like that.
Edge at one time when he was starting to get billed as the Rated R Superstar, when he won the Money in the Bank in 05, he was pretty built. But
Yeah, he was built up,
Yeah.
but he wasn't defined like he. I mean, this dude.
Well, he's been
he
training.
was ripped, cut,
Yeah.
6-pack abs.
Well, supposedly-
he never had them defined like
Supposedly
that.
he went to that performance center in Full Sail University, Florida, and trained a lot, man. So I'm pretty sure he was conditioning for a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Edge is in the match. He runs in. He hits a spear first off the bat.
Well, first off the bat, we assume he hit a spear because there was a friggin' blunder of the night.
Yeah, the
When
camera.
as soon as he enters the ring to go for that first spear in almost 10 years,
They took it off camera.
in a match, they flip to a shot of the crowd.
Yeah, that was stupid.
And then they go back and we catch his second spear.
Way to
but
go,
that
WWE
first
Network.
one was missed.
And we'll never get it back.
And I
Thank you.
could not believe that when they did. I'm like, oh my, you got to.
I
be
almost
kidding
wrote a
me.
letter. I did.
Yeah.
To WWE Network, but I said, you know what? We're gonna let it slide. He's back. That's all that matters.
I remember seeing when it happened. I just hope that Trump wasn't watching the Rumble. God knows we don't need him tweeting, about more stuff.
I'm not gonna go there. I'm keeping politics
He
out of
gets
the 3,
tweet
2, 1 scoop
happy.
throw now.
If he'd have seen that, he'd have been all over it. No, because he's friends with Vince McMahon. He'd have had a say to Vince. What kind of organization are you running down there?
That's right.
So, yeah. And then, of course, Randy Orton comes out.
Was he number 30?
No, he was not number 30.
Who was 30?
30 was Seth Rollins.
That's right. Of course,
Yeah.
coming down to the ring with his goons, AOP,
Corbin comes.
and Buddy Murphy to help him.
Yeah, Seth Rollins. So after, like I said, AJ comes and then Edge and,
Well, mind
like I
you,
said,
in the ring,
Gallows, Anderson and Gallows come down.
right?
Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens,
Roman
Reigns,
Reigns. Yeah.
Baron Corbin. These were all the big, the heavy hitter guys. Matt Riddle did come down during that, but he went out.
Well, that's
rather
what I
quickly.
wanted you to explain to them real quick.
That
That was the thing, and we completely got off track.
No, we didn't get off track.
we
I
were
was just waiting until we got to
Because
that
I was
part of
stroking Brock's ego. That was the problem, bro.
Right.
That
But
was it.
I
So
knew
go
I
ahead.
was waiting until we got to that part of the Rumble.
So why don't you
where Riddle come
explain
out to explain what happened. So
real quick? Go ahead.
So Matt Riddle, as some of you may or may not know, here, for a while now, man, he's
Been tweeting out.
he likes to send out tweets and tag people. He's
He
been
likes to stir shit up.
Yeah, he's been talking trash. It was for a little while. It was to Goldberg, and then he switched his sights to Brock Lesnar, talking about how he wants to be the guy to retire Lesnar and all this stuff. And he'll post stuff and he'll tag Brock in it. Well, apparently backstage at the Rumble, Brock seen Riddle, went up to him, grabbed him on the shoulder, told him, he says, "Kid, you need to take basically take my name out your mouth. Stop tagging me and shit on social media
Because it ain't gonna
because
happen.
you and me ain't ever gonna happen." So
Well, he ruined
just,
that. Is
you
pretty
know,
much
so-
what that meant.
apparently, Vince was pissed about it too. And from what I've heard, the whole reason, Riddle, I guess, was supposed to come out earlier, but because of that whole thing with Brock, they kept him away and Brock separated. They didn't want them in the ring at the same time. And then when he did come out, he got
Eliminated.
so quickly.
Yep.
That apparently they're saying that because Vince was kind of pissed with him about, just him tagging and stirring shit up with these other guys, that was kind of like punishment. That was Vince's way of,
Of saying
letting you know,
he didn't let him have.
have
his time in
I'm
the
not
ring.
happy about, what you do. I'm not happy with you. And apparently, from what they're saying, the whole reason why the beginning of that pay-per-view, where Brock was just tossing guys out left
Oh
and
well,
right
of that
on a
match,
whim,
yeah.
at that match, that was Vince's way of putting the entire locker room on notice.
Telling them this.
Letting you know that,
This is.
basically, I'm running things. I'm the boss. It just Vince being Vince. Vince needs to just go home and let Triple H, because we see what Triple H is doing with NXT. They
He's
need to
doing a
let Triple
fantastic
H,
job.
do it with all these
Did you
shows
know?
personally.
Did
but,
you know he is the game?
Yeah,
Did you know that he was the King of Kings, Triple H,
yeah,
the Cerebral Assassin,
yes.
the 15-time world champ, 15-time world champion, and he was in DX.
Yeah.
Okay, so enough talking about Triple H. Continue.
Yeah. Next, are you gonna show them the tattoo you have of his face on your chest above your heart?
No, we don't have time for that, bro. I'd be here all day talking about it.
This guy and his Triple H.
Nah. But go ahead. So I do
But,
not have a Triple H tattoo, anyways.
Sure he did. So anyways, yeah. So yeah, that was Vince's way of just kind of
can I just
let people know which.
let me just say this real
You
quick
know.
though about that match. The Royal Rumble match, to me, was the best match of the night. It was the first time. It was unique. The story it told, where Brock. That was the first time that's ever happened in a Rumble.
Yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
only time I could think where it was like that was the '98 Rumble, where Austin went in at number 1, and he did that to a few guys. He'd sit on the top turnbuckle, sitting there just waiting, and he's like listening to his fake watch on his wristband.
I remember. Yeah.
He's
yeah,
just
yeah,
waiting.
I
That
remember.
was cool. But it wasn't even that intense as Brock. This was more or less like Brock's Vince's guy. Don't piss Brock off. Is pretty much what you're explaining.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, go ahead.
So yeah. Anyway,
Edge
just
and-